Hello, one and all. This is my review of Dr. Stone, Chapter 138, end of Part 3. And just, I have to give huge props to the author here. For the third week in a row, I'm saying to myself, wow, this is one of the best chapters ever. Three consecutive weeks of just absolutely amazing, jaw-dropping content that I freaking loved. Oh my god, it's just amazing. This is just so freaking amazing. I absolutely loved it. And it's literally everything I was hoping to get out of this chapter and more. And oh my freaking lord, that ending. Oh lord, that ending. Okay, I have a whole lot to say about that. A whole lot to say. But let's start at the very beginning. So the first person Senku wakes up is Chrome. Which makes a certain amount of sense. You know, Chrome's can help him make more vital fluid to revive other people. And it was Chrome's idea on how to save Senku from being petrified. I do also love how he just immediately wakes up petrification. The first thing he sees is Senku, he's like, wait a minute, if you're by yourself, that means we won! Woo! An epic high five, and they decide, alright, now who do we need to wake up in what order to make sure we don't die? And honestly, that could have been a whole chapter on its own, them just waking up people in order to get what they need, but they just turned it into one page. First off, they're hungry, so they wake up Amaryllis, and the only thing she seems to do is steal food from her own village, so I kind of think they could have just done that by themselves. Next up, they need some muscle power to move the food, and who else could do that but the musclehead that we all love, Taiju. So he's there to carry the food, but then they realize none of them know how to cook food, which is a bit disheartening, so they wake up Francois, because, of course, Francois would do it. We then get some very interesting information about that phone call Senku got. We didn't see any back and forth. I'm like, oh god, this whole chapter is going to be him just trying to explain what happened back in the village to everybody. But no, the call dropped out and the cell phone's battery is almost dead. So they can't really talk till they get the ship up and running again, which is a whole other disaster, but we'll get to that. And you just gotta love Chrome. He's like, wait a minute. That doesn't sound like the Rui I know. She wouldn't make a call just to check on if we're okay. I bet something terrible has happened to her. We need to get a hold of her right now to figure out what's really going on. I'm sure there's something important she has to tell us. And, oh, Amaryllis, she hears, like, oh, I bet Chrome has some sort of relationship to this Rui girl. Is she his girlfriend or a former lover of his? At which point Francois responds with, no, I've been told she's actually Senku's ex-wife. Oh my god. And then Taiju is like, wait a minute, Senku, when did you get married? Because of course nobody explained to Taiju how Senku got married and divorced in the span of 3 minutes. Oh, and Amaryllis is just so overwhelmingly confused, it's hilarious. So then, yeah, in order to get in touch with the village, they need to go back to the ship, which has much stronger, much better communication technology on it. Unfortunately, Ibarra and his gang decided it'd be fun to trash it completely. I don't know why. It doesn't even look like they did it in a way where they were trying to understand how things worked. I think they just literally felt like breaking stuff for the fun of it. And then a flash, the rest of the science team is up and running and working on repairing the ship. I do love Ryu looking so freaking majestic with his twin swords. Oh my lord. Even Francois looks really happy there, just that he's, you know, back in his rightful place. And then Jen's up, and sadly he lost his cracks on his face, which I always really loved. I really thought they gave him some extra character and really, like, just said who he was, you know? I mean, it looked like a freaking open mouth, which just screamed, I'm a liar! I tell good words! Then Taiju goes underwater to get Yo and Kirasami, and there's a very lively debate about what to do with her, with Magma saying, smashy, smashy, kill! And Jen saying, does the idea of murder faze you that little? Yes, it does, Jen. Don't you remember? He attempted to murder you. He thought he did murder you. That was a whole thing. Magma is a killer. Be afraid of Magma. And of course, Senku doesn't hesitate at all to wake her up because she's not all that much of a threat anymore. And more importantly, Ibarra was lying to her the whole time, tricking her, making her think that she was following the will of the master, as she was raised to do. But of course, Senku always has a secondary motive, in this case, finding out where Kohaku and Jinro are. Personally, I would have kept the statues on top of the Master's hut, just like as a warning to other people not to go against him, but I guess they were taken down and moved elsewhere, and Kirasami knows where. So Jinro and Kohaku are back. Woo! And sadly, Jinro is no longer wearing a dress. And even sadder, his touching reunion with his brother is ruined when Jinro realizes Kohaku is wearing a dress, and he pervs out and gets punished for it severely. And then Kohaku and Senku hug, and it is infinitely better than their kiss. I mean, Senku and Kohaku kissed back in chapter 107, which oddly enough is like my most popular video ever. It's sitting around 12,000 views. But like I was saying, that kiss was fake. It was 100% fake. And neither Senku or Kohaku looked too happy afterwards. I mean, seriously. But here, this is just such a moment of vulnerability for both them. Kohaku looks a little sad, a little scared, a little relieved, you know, because she really didn't know if she would wake back up again, but she had faith in Senku, and she's just so happy that he saved her, and she's really letting her tough gorilla side down just to be vulnerable for a moment here. And God, Senku, I mean, yeah, he's not pulling her in, but he's not pushing her away. He looks happy with his hug. He looks content. He's just honestly so relieved that she's back, you know, that they managed to save her, because even though he was fairly confident after she petrified, she's like, all right, it's going to be fine. We can unpetrify her. He was definitely worried about her. He was definitely worried about sending her into the freaking harem. Oh, I'm sure that hurt his pride to send her into a freaking harem. But this is just such a sweet, beautiful moment between the two characters, and I absolutely freaking love it. It's just such vulnerability, such honesty between the two of them, and after seeing this moment, I'm all on board the ship train. Kohaku and Senku forever. Woo! Woo! It's just such a touching moment. I absolutely love it. And Kurosami actually blushes like crazy and has to turn away while seeing this. Though Amaryllis corrects her, no, it isn't like that. It's not that kind of hug. And that's true. This isn't a hug of passion. This isn't a lover's embrace or anything like that. This is a hug of comfort, a hug of vulnerability between the two of them. And it's just such a perfect moment right here. Anyway, moving on, back on the ship. Yo's toasting everyone with some cola. And Kurosami is swearing her allegiance to Soyuz. Thank you freaking God. Oh my lord, this is what I honestly wish we got more of that, but that's exactly what I wanted out of this chapter. Her just swearing her allegiance to Soyuz and be like, no, you don't have to do that. It's fine. It's fine. I just can't wait to see these characters moving forward. Kurosami always by Soyuz's side, like, what is it we should do, master? Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be so fun. And then they finally get a hold of Ishigami Village once more. And Ruri has the strangest message. No, Senku, you're the one who's trying to reach us. You keep saying the same message over and over again. I don't know what it means. And then the signal's cut out by a much stronger one, by a being containing far greater technology than they do. But this time it's not Morse code, it's a voice. 12,800,000 meters, 1 second. Oh my lord. I'm not gonna lie, when I first read them, I'm like, oh, is this coordinates? Are they telling them where to go? And then I read the 1 second, we're like, oh lord. A chill went up my spine when I heard them, like, oh my god, are they gonna die? Nope. Thankfully, the petrification device was far enough away that the voice didn't reach it, but this whole thing just sent a freaking chill down my spine. Especially what Senku says next. 12,800,000 meters is the diameter of the Earth. Okay, so this answers one question I've had. The Medusa, the little device they have. I said, oh, no, this thing's too small. It's not powerful enough to have covered the entire planet. I'm sure there's a much bigger one at their home base that would do that. Nope, this thing could have actually covered the entire planet, and there's a fairly good chance it's the only one in existence. So, interesting. But what's even more interesting and so utterly freaking terrifying is what Ukyo says next. Senku, that voice, that's your voice. Oh, Lord, that's terrifying. I mean, we see this cracked stone version of demonic Senku right here, and it is utterly terrifying. Oh my god, I love this chapter. And Senku's response to this isn't fear, it isn't worry. Everyone else is freaking out. Senku's only left to say, now that gets me excited. Because of course it does. Wow, okay, so this answered a lot of questions I had. It might not seem that way, but it definitely did. So the theory I've had the last few chapters is that the Y-Man, the cult of Y-Man, whatever you want to call him, gave Medusa to the original villagers way back when, and gave them the rule, don't build anything new, and don't leave the island, as a means of limiting humanity, preventing them from becoming what they once were. And the whole reason for the Y-Man curse and all that was in order to give the Earth a chance to regrow and replenish and reheal itself from just so many years of us screwing it up. Just so many years. And so when he found out there were people still alive, the astronauts came down, they had kids, their kids had kids, so on and so forth. He gave Medusa and said, okay, listen up. I could kill you right now, but I'm not going to. So just stay on this island, never leave it, never make anything new. And if you start destroying the world again, I'm going to come back and kill all of you. So to prevent that from happening, here, use Medusa. If any of your villagers break the laws, start building something new, or try to leave, just petrify them, okay? Okay. I'm guessing this might have actually been the reason why Ishigami Village was formed, why the villagers existed, because they were the ones who said, no, we're not following that rule, we're not going to do that, and they all got on a boat and they left. So essentially, Ishigami Village is an entire island of rebels. And I do think we're going to get some kind of explanation on that next chapter, because either Kirasami or that girl they found in the bottom of the ocean a few chapters back is going to know something about where the petrification device came from, who brought it to the island, what did they look like, what did they say, and all that. So that's at least my theory. I think this chapter confirmed it, but I think it's definitely going to be confirmed next chapter, when they find out the origin behind the Medusa and how the villagers got it. Now, as for it being Senku's voice, that's a little more terrifying. I see 3 possibilities for it. First off, the cult of Y, which one was called from now on, has a gen of their own, someone who can mimic voices. I mean, don't forget that Gen convinced almost everyone back in Tsukusa's village that he was Lillian, the world-famous singer. So it wouldn't be too hard for him to convince people over the phone that he was actually Senku, which could lead to some really fun pranks for Gen to pull him down the road. Just thoughts. Second, it's a deep fake. Essentially, if you get a recording of a person's voice, like when Senku yelled back at the Y-Man, what feels like decades ago, they could have recorded that voice and used it to create a program that sounds like Senku, that talks like Senku. I mean, this isn't all that hard to do. It's definitely beyond my technical skills, but I'm sure I could figure out a way to do it just in a week or two. Now, this is at least theoretically possible, but at the same time, I feel like they would need to have heard more words from Senku in order to create a realistic deepfake. Which leads to possibility 3, which is the most terrifying possibility imaginable. It's Senku's evil twin brother! Yeah, I know that's such a cliche at this moment, like, no, this character's my evil twin! Something along those lines, which is why I think it's less likely, but at the same time, this series has shown that it can really shine even in the craziest moments, so I wouldn't be all that surprised if evil twin, or actually, what if it's clones? What if Senku's parents were behind the petrification, and now the only people running the facility they still had are just clones and clones of Senku, dozens and dozens of them? That would be terrifying and amazing and hilarious. Honestly not sure about that, but let me think about that down below. Which of those 3 possibilities sounds the most realistic to you? I mean, it's certainly possible the clone/evil twin theory is correct, but they'll just assume, oh, they have a gen, or oh, they used a deepfake voice modulator to make it sound like me, or something like that. And then down the road, it's like, oh no, they were actually my evil twins! I don't know. I really don't know. This is pretty intense. Also, the Y cult attempted to petrify the entire Earth again. That's concerning. I was going to say that means one of 3 possibilities. Either one, they're in space, but the reboot really kind of makes that impossible because we've seen space. I think Ray would have noticed someone else up there. Second is that they are underground or in a facility somewhere that is somehow shielded from petrification. That would make a lot of sense. Like I said, I'm assuming their whole thing is they don't want to destroy the Earth. They want to give it a chance to regrow and whatnot. So they probably have, like, rules and regulations on how many people they can have. Like, oh, we can't have more than 100 people. Everyone's allowed to have 2 kids. No more, no less. All right? That's what we're doing. So that they keep a small group together that can still live and thrive and carry humanity's knowledge forward, but without damaging the Earth. And third is the possibility the Y-Man is a robot. An AI that was given the orders, save the Earth from global warming, climate change, pollution, etc., all these problems. He's like, all right, I have a solution. They're like, great, robot, what's your idea? I'm going to turn every human into stone. Wait, what? I think that can make a lot of sense, especially given how the Y-Man's managed to live these last 3,000 years. You know, given that over that time we've had volcanoes, meteors, and a whole bunch of other stuff that would have been very detrimental to most of humanity. And we already saw from the spin-off that it is in fact possible to create an AI in this world that has human level sentience. So yeah, overall, really fun chapter. Love the hug. I thought it was just such a great moment of vulnerability for both of them. It was just so sweet and so amazing and so perfect. I loved Kirasami swearing her allegiance to Soyuz. That was adorable, and I cannot wait to see what happens next from that. And I was utterly shocked and terrified by the Y-Man's return. So yeah, I think we're going into the final arc now. The main story, the big battle against the Y-Man, the Y-Cult, whatever you want to call it. And I'm super excited. I mean, still right up in space, who can be a big help in this fight. Now they have the Medusa. They can finally freaking wake up Tsukasa. Oh, it's going to be fun having Tsukasa on Senku's team. That's going to be fun. Oh boy. Hyoga and Mose, hard to say if they're going to be woken up. It honestly feels like they're a little too dangerous to be allowed to walk around, but at the same time... But clearly the Y-Man is a much bigger threat, and he's planning on wiping out everything, so yeah. Definitely see them teaming up to take him out at least. I also think it's interesting that Yukio is the one that mentioned Senku's voice, because he has like god-level hearing, so he could probably tell, oh, it's a deep fake, I can hear some static in there, or, oh, it's not really you, I can hear a raspiness in the voice that's different from yours, or something like that. That's going to give us some better clues moving forward. Really thinking that Amaryllis or Kirasami or the girl at the bottom of the ocean are going to end up giving some big clues on exactly who they're up against, what the big threat is. Oh, and I guess they still need to unpetrify the entire village. And that's probably going to be very confusing for them, waking up to find out, learning that Bar's been lying to them for a decade, the master is actually dead, and his long-lost son has returned, and that they've all been petrified, and there's actually a way to undo the petrification. Kind of feel like it's better just to, you know, wake up everyone at once, so they just have to give the explanation once rather than do it a million times, but honestly not sure. This is going to get interesting, though. This is going to get really interesting. I mean, like I said, I think this is the final arc we're entering into, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's actually really interesting because it's very clear the Y-Cult has technology far superior than Senku's. Its whole series has basically been Senku using his technology skills to go against less advanced people, but now he has to use them against more advanced people. Oh, that's going to be so freaking amazing! Alright, just let me think all down below. I'm sorry I've been talking so long, but there was a whole lot to say about this chapter, and just really enjoyed it. Really love that hug. Oh my god, that hug. And just everything else. So yeah, let me take all this down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video. Until then, peace!